to assault something else, and they do. Once again, I'm trying to break this portion of the line, but my attempts don't come to much. Especially as these consular cavalry arrive to attack my flank. I keep them in there. But here comes a killer charge by these cataphracts right against this portion of my line, which produces an instant rout of 4 different units. Absolutely devastating. Just like what happened with the Seleucids versus the Ptolemies at Panion. The cataphracts managed to defeat the opposing cavalry and come in on the behind of the phalanx. In this case, it's attacking the behind of the rear of the hoplites, but makes no difference. It produces a mass rout, opens a huge gap, and frees up all these Romans to fight. You can even see these 3 of Horoi, which are at almost full strength, now running away. And it's a huge danger. But the good news is that the cataphracts lost a lot of men. Still, it was obviously worth it. And with all these Romans now free for battle duty, and with more Romans coming over here, it looks as if they'll win this flank too. My only hope being that these units come back from routing, which they most likely will as they're not being pursued. On this flank, Antisocialmunky is using his far more numerous cavalry to go after these cataphracts and prevent a similar thing from happening again. And the Peltastai have successfully defeated the Shapritikul on most accounts, while my lines of hoplites here and the phalanx are successfully holding off the opposing phalanx. And I move in my Hetairo speed of Horoi to attack the cataphracts, trying to flank and destroy the rest of my army. And you see here that Yavana is simply just trying to ignore them, and he's getting his cataphracts chopped up as a result. And he doesn't even lower his lances, which means that these tired cataphracts won't do a whole lot of damage when charging in, but they still manage to rout that phalanx unit, and that one. And it's at this point that I really began to panic. We really began to panic, and but our cavalry are pursuing his in droves, and Yavana's simply afraid to engage, for good reason, because our cavalry has much better stamina than his. If they engage fresh on fresh, the cataphracts would rout them almost instantly, but that's not what's happening. On this flank, I've sent in my general to stabilize the situation, prevent my troops from collapsing in a mass rout. I've also brought back some of the troops that routed during the earlier cataphract charge. And the situation is stable on that flank as these Romans aren't moving over there. Antisocialmunky has his general in the fight as well, doing the same thing. And our cavalry continue to pursue the cataphracts en masse. Meanwhile, for some reason this phalanx is turning around. This one's sitting there doing not a whole lot. These Peltast, I guess, accidentally run through into here and start getting chopped up, but they also start doing damage to these Phalangitai. And in a role swap, sort of, these cataphracts, who are in position to charge, turn around. Also, in a clever move, Yavana, at the expense of the stamina of his cataphracts, gets our horsemen to engage with the Shapritikul. And with infantry and heavy cavalry fighting against only medium cavalry, medium light, it quickly produces a rout. However, since these cavalry are still at about half strength, they're likely to come back. And his cataphracts aren't in any good position to attack any of our rears. Meanwhile, the rout is now hitting the Romans, whose army is falling apart completely over here. Over here, however, not so much. And I believe it was about this time that Vega got disconnected. But it was at a pretty convenient time because his army had already been pretty much destroyed. And at this point the AI would do just about as good a job as he would attacking this part over here, as he really has no other army left. And if you look at the pattern of the battle, as the melee has broken down, the Romans have really gained a bit of their edge back, but the Greeks' numbers have allowed them to overwhelm as their units return from routing. The cataphracts are still alive and well, but so are antisocial monkeys, horsemen. And there's plenty of Greek troops left in reserve. And here you can see, at long last, the Parthian phalanxes are starting to break. Even after they had had their numbers mostly depleted. They're being engaged in melee. In a funny situation here, I finally ordered my hoplites to attack up close. And because of how disordered the phalanx's line had become, they were able to push through and engage in melee, and in melee, these hoplites will pretty easily destroy the phalangites. Antisocial Monkey's done the same thing with his phalanx, which is far superior in melee to these natives, who are really only good for holding the line. They're no good in phalanx fights. These native phalanx, I think, are best used in combination with a nearby general, and in that combination, they'll hold the line against almost any infantry. Non-phalanx infantry, that is. But now, because Yavana refused to engage these cavalry at a place where they couldn't be molested by infantry by getting a good charge in, if he could, then, well, now his cavalry don't stand much of a chance of winning anything, and his cataphracts are pretty much doomed to roam the battlefield. And, that's not much of an option for him anymore because his line is completely routed. His Roman allies are still hanging on. And these Brudians apparently cracked. As you can see, the Roman superiority in disorganized melee because of their versatile equipment. He doesn't even come in for a charge. He could have at least risked his chances on a charge. He does over here, and he pretty easily crushes the opposing lighter troops, while he has Peltastai engaged on the flank by these Friedikul, and that produced an easy rout. But he fails to get in a good charge here, and these cataphracts are routed. So we actually have a pretty funny occurrence here. The whole center has been completely destroyed. Oh, that blue unit over there is Shaq's unit that he was using to observe the battle. Over here, the Romans finally crushed both those units and are moving into attack here. But I have enough hoplites here to hold. Except I don't now, because these cataphracts are scaring all my men away. now. As you can see, they don't stand a whole lot of a chance with those units coming at their back. However, at this point, it's sort of a lost cause. The Parthian phalanxes aren't going to come back from routing because they're being pursued. And here you can see another use of those Cretan archers. Those are the Cretan archers they were shooting earlier. Now they have a chance to cut down fleeing phalanxes. And fight other crappy phalanxes in melee. Even though all my troops are routed over here, they've held long enough to preserve the integrity of the rest of the army. Well, that's just about it. Wonder who's giving those orders? Oh. It's the Roman general. He's still alive, that sucker. It's the last unit to not rout. Puts up a decent fight, I guess. Have a look at the dead bodies. Oh. Just have a look at the casualties, actually. You can see the Cretan archers that were shooting the Persians got 542 kills. Each of the Cretan archers got a lot of kills, but that's because they were shooting other unarmored archers. The Peltastae performed respectably, and each of the light cavalry performed pretty impressively too. So all in all, an interesting battle. A pretty epic one considering how many units were involved. Let's do some quick math. There were over 13,000 men in this battle, which is a pretty big size. So, great game to everybody. It was very entertaining, something you don't see a whole lot. I was very glad we were able to get that to work without any significant lag. And it's a pretty awesome experience. You should try fighting large battles on EB Online, especially on huge size, with more than 1v1 in terms of players. And hoping to see you more players. If you watch this, please go on the Total War Org forums, download the EDU 3.0 version, whatever version is most recent, and download Hamachi, come on to Hamachi, and play some games. We're always looking for more players. We're an expanding community, and trying to revive something that's been in an effort that's been very successful over the past summer. This is Game Geek 2, coming to you with another EB Online battle, and signing out.